Topic: Current good manufacturing practices. Contents of GMP. Brief GMP history. Good manufacturing practice, GMPs. Definitions, as per 21 CFR Part 210. Quality management. Quality assurance. Quality relationships. Quality system, facilities and equipments, production, laboratory, materials, PKG. And labeling, electronic records, and electronic sign. Prevention of mix-up and cross-contamination. Qualification and validations. Recent FDA update on process validation January 2011. Internal quality audit, self-inspection. Contents of cGMP. Change control. Deviations. OS, out of specification. Market complaints. CAPA, corrective and preventive action. Stability studies and its importance. Annual product quality review, need to be included. Good documentation practices. Training. Sanitation and hygiene. Production and analysis. The Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. The Drugs and Cosmetics Rules 1945. Reading recommendations, ICH Q1, Q2, Q8, Q9, Q10. Why GMP required? Some catastrophes of the pharmaceutical industry reveals the significance of continuing compliance to GMPs. 1900s. The biologic products were first regulated, when at least 12 children died from a diphtheria antitoxin that was contaminated with live tetanus. 1935. One company used diethylene glycol, a poisonous solvent and chemical analog of antifreeze, in an oral elixir of sulfanilamide. Before the problem was discovered, 107 people died, many of them children. 1941, one tragedy killing, injuring nearly 300 people by a company's sulfathiazole tablets, because a sulfa drug tainted with the sedative, phenobarbital. 1957. First GMPs issued as a government regulation, by the Canadian Specifications Board for drugs supplied to the Canadian military. 1963 US FDA GMPs. 1967 WHO GMPs. 1973 UK GMPs. 1984 GMPs in more than 25 countries. It is that part of pharmaceutical industry which ensures the products are consistently produced and controlled to the quality standards appropriate to their intended use and as required by the regulatory approvals or product specification. Reading recommendations. 21 CFR Part 210 and 211. WHO GMP Guidelines. Definitions, as per 21 CFR Part 210. Batch means a specific quantity of a drug or other material that is intended to have uniform character and quality, within specified limits, and is produced according to a single manufacturing order during the same cycle of manufacture. Component means any ingredient intended for use in the manufacture of a drug product, including those that may not appear in such drug product. Drug product means a finished dosage form, for example, tablet, capsule, solution, etc., that contains an active drug ingredient generally, but not necessarily, in association with inactive ingredients. The term also includes a finished dosage form that does not contain an active ingredient but is intended to be used as a placebo. Fiber means any particulate contaminant with a length at least 3 times greater than its width. Non-fiber releasing filter means any filter, which after appropriate pretreatment such as washing or flushing, will not release fibers into the component or drug product that is being filtered. Active ingredient means any component that is intended to furnish pharmacological activity or other direct effect in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease, or to affect the structure or any function of the body of man or other animals. The term includes those components that may undergo chemical change in the manufacture of the drug product and be present in the drug product in a modified form intended to furnish the specified activity or effect. Inactive ingredient means any component other than an active ingredient. In-process material means any material fabricated, compounded, blended, or derived by chemical reaction that is produced for, and used in, the preparation of the drug product. Lot means a batch, or a specific identified portion of a batch, having uniform character and quality within specified limits, or, in the case of a drug product produced by continuous process, it is a specific identified amount produced in a unit of time or quantity in a manner that assures its having uniform character and quality within specified limits. Lot number, control number, or batch number means any distinctive combination of letters, numbers, or symbols, or any combination of them, from which the complete history of the manufacture, processing, packing, holding, and distribution of a batch or lot of drug product or other material can be determined. Manufacture, processing, packing, or holding of a drug product includes packaging and labeling operations, testing, and quality control of drug products. Quality control unit means any person or organizational element designated by the firm to be responsible for the duties relating to quality control. Theoretical yield means the quantity that would be produced at any appropriate phase of manufacture, processing, or packing of a particular drug product, based upon the quantity of components to be used, in the absence of any loss or error in actual production. Percentage of theoretical yield means the ratio of the actual yield, at any appropriate phase of manufacture, processing, or packing of a particular drug product, to the theoretical yield, at the same phase, stated as a percentage. Actual yield means the quantity that is actually produced at any appropriate phase of manufacture, processing, or packing of a particular drug product. Strength means I. The concentration of the drug substance, for example, weight/weight, weight, volume, or unit dose, volume basis, and or 2. The potency, that is, the therapeutic activity of the drug product as indicated by appropriate laboratory tests or by adequately developed and controlled clinical data, expressed, for example, in terms of units by reference to a standard. Acceptance criteria means the product specifications and acceptance, rejection criteria, such as acceptable quality level and unacceptable quality level, with an associated sampling plan, that are necessary for making a decision to accept or reject a lot or batch, or any other convenient subgroups of manufactured units. Quality management. What is quality management? Aspect of management function that determines and implements the quality policy. It is most appropriately expressed by quality policy of the company. The quality policy is an apex document describing thought process and approach of highest management level in an organization with respect to quality management. Whenever corporate department issues certain guidance, those guidance should commensurate with approach defined in quality policy. Total quality management. Application of quality management principles to all areas of business from design to delivery instead of confining them only to production activities. Popularized by the U.S. quality pioneer Armand Val Feigenbaum, 1920, in his book Total Quality Control. TQM is a set of systematic activities carried out by the entire organization to effectively and efficiently achieve organization's objectives so as to provide products and services with a level of quality that satisfies customers, at the appropriate time and price. Seven quality tools. Cause and effect diagrams. Fishbone diagram. Flowcharts. Check sheets. Histograms. Pareto charts. Control charts. Scatter diagrams. Example of figure shown in image for better clarity. Quality system. Facility and equipment system. Any building, equipment shall be of suitable size, construction and location to facilitate cleaning, maintenance, and proper operations. Any such building shall have adequate space for the orderly placement of equipment and materials to prevent mix-ups and contamination. Operations shall be performed within specifically defined areas of adequate size. Production: In case of any deviations from instruction or procedures occurs, it should be approved by functional supervisor, with the involvement of the QA department. Premise for the manufacturing and packaging of medicinal products should be specifically designed and laid out so as to avoid mix-ups or cross-contamination. Quality: QC is concerned with sampling, specifications and testing as well as the organization, documentation and release procedures which ensure that the necessary and relevant tests are carried out and that materials are not released for sale and supply until their quality has been judged satisfactory. Laboratory: should have adequate space for working, and suitable storage space for samples and records. Material: storage areas should be clean, dry and maintained within acceptable environmental limits and allow orderly storage of materials and products. Receiving and dispatch bays should protect materials and products from the weather. Where quarantine status is ensured by storage in separate areas, these areas must be clearly marked and their access restricted to authorized. Material, packaging and labeling control. There should be separate sampling area for starting materials. Segregated areas should be provided for the storage of rejected, recalled or returned materials or products. Access to printed packaging material and label storage should be limited to authorized personnel and should be controlled. Labeling materials issued for a batch shall be carefully examined for identity and conformity to the labeling specified in the master or batch production records. Packaged and labeled products shall be examined during finishing operations to provide assurance that containers and packages in the lot have the correct label. A representative sample of units shall be collected at the completion of finishing operations and shall be visually examined for correct labeling. Results of these examinations shall be recorded in the batch production or control records. Electronic records and electronic signature. Sec. 11.3 Definitions. Biometrics means a method of verifying an individual's identity based on measurement of the individual's physical features or repeatable actions where those features and/or actions are both unique to that individual and measurable. Closed system means an environment in which system access is controlled by persons who are responsible for the content of electronic records that are on the system. Electronic record means any combination of text, graphics, data, audio, pictorial, or other information representation in digital form that is created, modified, maintained, archived, retrieved, or distributed by a computer system. Electronic signature means a computer data compilation of any symbol or series of symbols executed, adopted, or authorized by an individual to be the legally binding equivalent of the individual's handwritten signature. Digital signature means an electronic signature based upon cryptographic methods of originator authentication, computed by using a set of rules and a set of parameters such that the identity of the signer and the integrity of the data can be verified. Handwritten signature means the scripted name or legal mark of an individual handwritten by that individual and executed or adopted with the present intention to authenticate a writing in a permanent form. The act of signing with a writing or marking instrument such as a pen or stylus is preserved. The scripted name or legal mark, while conventionally applied to paper, may also be applied to other devices that capture the name or mark. Open system means an environment in which system access is not controlled by persons who are responsible for the content of electronic records that are on the system. Sec. 11.70 Signature, Record Linking. Electronic signatures and handwritten signatures executed to electronic records shall be linked to their respective electronic records to ensure that the signatures cannot be excised, copied, or otherwise transferred to falsify an electronic record by ordinary means. Subpart C. Electronic signatures. Sec. 11.100 General Requirements. Each electronic signature shall be unique to one individual and shall not be reused by, or reassigned to, anyone else. Before an organization establishes, assigns, certifies, or otherwise sanctions an individual's electronic signature, or any element of such electronic signature, the organization shall verify the identity of the individual. Types of documents. List of documents at working area. Logbooks. Standard operating procedures, SOPs. Operating manuals, as applicable. Standard test procedures, applicable for QC labs. Documents shall be displayed at workplaces as shall be kept in a file labeled with title like Standard Operating Procedures. Do not pull out the pages, leaflets from the folders. Documents, SOP, are displayed at workplaces required for referring during performing the activity for minimizing the occurrence of error. High accuracy and efficiency of work. Prevention of cross-contamination and mix-up. Cross-contamination is generally referred as undesired introduction of one material into another or one product into another. Cross-contamination may happen due to direct physical mix-up, due to use of common equipment/reactive equipment, facilities, via utilities such as common contaminated water system, improper air system etc. Validation. Types of validation. Process validations. Cleaning validations. Analytical method validation. Computer system validations. Utilities validation. Revalidation. Validation Master Plan. All validation activity should be planned. The key elements of validation program should be clearly defined and documented in firm's validation master plan. The VMP should contain data on at least the following. Validation policy. Organizational structure of validation activities. Summary of facilities, systems, equipment and processes to be validated. Documentation format, the format to be used for protocols and reports. Planning and scheduling. Change control. Reference to existing documents. Before carrying out the process validations, ensure that the equipments and related utilities are qualified. Process validation. Stage 1, Process Design. The commercial manufacturing process is defined during this stage that will be reflected in planned master production and control records. Building and capturing process knowledge and understanding. Establishing a strategy for process control. Stage 2, Process Qualification. The stage is to evaluate the process design's capability of reproducible commercial manufacture. Design of a facility and qualification of utilities and equipments. Process Performance Qualification, PPQ. PPQ Protocol. PPQ Protocol Execution and Report. Stage 3, Continued Process Verification. This stage is to provide continual assurance that the process remains in state of control during commercial manufacture. Cleaning Validation. Cleaning Method Validation. Validation of analytical method used to determine residue level. Product Equipment Matrix. Review and revision of matrix. Review and revision of acceptance criteria. Routine monitoring. Revalidation example. Change in worst case molecule, change in acceptance criteria, change in existing cleaning process, change in formulation, change in equipment mux/configuration, etc. Analytical method validation. Specificity. Linearity. Precision. Accuracy. Stability indicating or not. Robustness and ruggedness. LOD. LOQ. Computer system validation. Hardware qualification. Software qualification. Access control. Data security. Audit trail. Reading recommendations. 21 CFR Part 11, Electronic Signature and Records. GAMP 5, Good Automated Manufacturing Practices. Utilities validation. Compressed air. Nitrogen. Pure steam. Water system. A chemical. B microbiological. C equipment. Revalidation. Periodic, based upon criticality and impact assessment. Direct impact. Indirect impact. Specific, due to change in existing systems or due to failure of existing systems or due to modification of existing system or due to change in associated procedures. Internal quality audit, self-inspection. Frequency should normally be at least once a year. Report prepared at completion of inspection, including results, evaluation, conclusions, recommended corrective measures, follow-up action, effective follow-up programmed, company management to evaluate both the report and corrective actions. Change control. All changes that may affect product quality or reproducibility of the process should be formally requested, documented and accepted. What is a deviation? Departure from written and approved standards procedure. Deviation. Deviations can be categorized as unplanned deviations. A deviation that was accidentally made from one or more approved procedure and observed at a later time of execution, audit, etc. Planned deviations. A temporary or interim need to deviate from an approved requirements or to supplement, clarify or correct existing approved requirements. In case of planned deviations, it's important to understand that planned deviations should not be used as an alternative of convenience or to bypass the change control mechanism. There should have very limited occurrence and should not have any adverse impact on related product/process/system/utility. OAS, out of specification. Salient points of latest FDA guidance on OAS, published in October 2006, further clarification of agency's approach towards inclusion of contract manufacturing, analytical services in scope. Inclusion of verification of calculations, audit trail on raw data in the responsibility of supervisor and examining the original sample. Trending of OAS results. Emphasis on investigative evidence and documentation for laboratory errors. Salient points of latest FDA guidance on OAS. Inaccurate with OAS result. Hypothesis with theories. Records with evidence. Prevent recurrence with ensure that it does not occur again. OAS investigation with failure investigation. Root cause with source of OAS result. Reviewer with investigated. Batch with product. Inclusion of contract laboratories in the scope. Market complaint. Any communication, written or verbal or telephonic, received directly from any customer, retailer, distributor, field staff or QP/country manager, regarding the purity, efficacy, labeling defects, or any other such complaints received with respect to distributed lots shall be considered as a market complaint. Complaints procedure. Designated responsible person. To log complaint, handle complaint. Decide on measure to be taken. Sufficient support staff. Access to records. Written procedure, SOP. Describes action to be taken. Includes need to consider a recall, for example possible product defect. Thorough investigation. QC involved with special attention to establish whether counterfeiting may have been the cause. Fully recorded investigation, reflect all the details. Due to product defect, discovered or suspected. Consider checking other batches. Batches containing reprocessed product. Complaint handling. Investigation and evaluation should result in appropriate follow-up actions. May include a recall. All decisions and measures taken should be recorded. Referenced in batch records. Records reviewed, trends and recurring problems. CAPA corrective and preventive action. Correction, immediate action taken to resolve finding, issue. Corrective action, an action or set of actions meant to avoid recurrence of problem/failure/deviation. Preventive action, an action or set of actions meant to avoid occurrence of a potential problem/failure/deviation. This system/or requirement was introduced by USFDA as a part of the cGMP. Corrective and preventive action is a 4-step process. Identify the issue. Implement corrective action that corrects the specific issue. Implement a preventive action that will eliminate similar issues in the future. Verify that the preventive action is effective by monitoring trend data in the future. Stability studies and its importance. The stability studies are conducted on a new product, changes in existing product. 2. Existing products. In case of new products product, changes in existing product, the main objectives of stability studies are A. To ascertain the shelf life of product. B. To ensure product retains desired characteristics during shelf life. C. To evaluate the robustness of the product formulation. D. Manufacturing procedure and product packaging. There is no development of any untoward trend in quality of the product. E. To ascertain that product would retain its desired characteristics even after exposure to extremes of storage conditions. C. The undetected/unidentified changes in quality of inputs, processing are not adversely affecting the product quality. Following are important situations where instability studies are required to be conducted. Change in vendor for API, key excipients. 2. Change in specification, particularly relaxation/deletion of a test parameter, of API or key excipients. 3. Change in manufacturing procedure of API, key excipients. 4. Change in manufacturing process of product. 5. Change in key processing equipment. Addition or deletion of an excipients. Change in manufacturing site of drug product. 8. Change in batch size. 9. Process validations. 10. Routine monitoring of existing product. 11. Change in primary packaging component. 12. Planned/unplanned deviations, if applicable. 13. Any other specific regulatory requirement. Reading recommendations. ICH Q1, Stability. Q1A R2, Stability testing of new drug substances and products. Q1B Stability testing, photostability testing of new drug substances and products. Q1C Stability testing of new dosage forms. Q1D Bracketing and matrixing designs for stability testing of new drug substances and products. Q1E Evaluation of stability data. ICH Q2, Analytical validation. Annual Product Quality Review. Objectives to do an annual product quality review. To review and verify the consistency and appropriateness of the existing process. To identify and highlight any trends in the process, for example in analytical results, yields etc. To identify any possible product or process improvements. Not yet mandatory in WHO GMP, but it is likely to become mandatory like it is in other GMPs. Review of starting materials/packaging materials, especially from new sources. Review of in-process control results and finished product analytical control results. Amount of batches and packaging units produced and their yields. Reviews of things. Out-of-spec situations. Rejections. Deviations. Changes. Plus their investigations as well as a trend analysis of causes. Good documentation practices. All GMP documents shall be accurate, truthful and complete, readily retrievable and traceable. Data integrity shall be given utmost importance in GMP documentation. All entries made on GMP documents should be concise, legible, unambiguous and accurate. Entries in the documents, records along with signature and date shall be made right at the time the activity is performed. Entries in GMP documents, records shall not be cancelled, erased, obliterated or otherwise rendered illegible. Training. cGMP trainings should be imparted to all employees with predefined frequency. Induction. Initial training program should exist for new employees. Trainings on standard operating procedures should be imparted and assessed for all new as well as existing employees. Regulatory and developmental training programs should be facilitated to employees in order to keep them familiar with recent regulatory, GMP updates. New personnel shall start job-related activities only when certified by the functional supervisor, reporting manager with completion of required trainings. Sanitation and hygiene. A high level of sanitation and hygiene should be practiced in every aspect of the manufacture of drug products. The scope of sanitation and hygiene covers personnel, premises, equipment and apparatus, products for cleaning and disinfection, anything that could become a source of contamination to the product. Hand disinfection. Basic steps in pharma industry. Contract production and analysis. All arrangements for contract manufacture and analysis should be in accordance with the marketing authorization for the product concerned. The contract should permit the contract giver to audit the facilities of the contract acceptor. In the case of contract analysis, the final approval for release must be given by the authorized person. There must be a written contract between the contract giver and the contract acceptor which clearly establishes the responsibilities of each party. Technical aspects of the contract should be drawn up by competent persons suitably knowledgeable in pharmaceutical technology, analysis and GMP. There are 23 schedules to the rules. A pro forma for application for the licenses, issue and renewal of licenses, for sending memoranda under the Act. B. Rates of fee for test or analysis by the CDL or the government. Analyst. C. List of biological and special products whose import, sale, distribution and manufacture are governed by special provisions. C1. List of other special products whose import, sale, distribution and manufacture are governed by special provisions. D. List of drugs exempted from the provisions of import of drugs. D1. Information and undertaking to be submitted by the manufacturer with the application form for a registration certificate. D2. Information to be submitted by the manufacturer with the application form for registration of a bulk drug/formulation/special product for its import to India. E1. List of poisonous substance under Ayurvedic and Unani system. F. Requirement for the functioning and operation of the blood bank and/or for preparation of blood components. F1. Provisions applicable to the production of bacterial and viral vaccines, Part I, sera from living animals, Part 2, diagnostic agents, Part 3. F2. Standards for surgical dressings. F3. Standards for sterilized umbilical tapes. FF. Standards for ophthalmic products. G. List of substances that are required to be used only under medical supervision and which are to labeled accordingly. H. List of prescription drugs. J. Disease or ailments which a drug may not purport to prevent or cure. K. Drugs exempted from manufacturing. M. GMP. N. List of minimum equipment for running retail pharmacy. O. Standards for disinfectant fluids. P. Life periods of drugs. Q. List of dyes and colors used in cosmetics and soap. R. Standards for mechanical contraceptives. S. Standard for cosmetics. T. GMP for Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani medicines. U. Particular to be shown in manufacturing of drugs. V. Standards for patent and proprietary medicines. W. List of drugs which are to be marketed under generic name only. X. List of drugs whose manufacturing, sale, import and labeling plus packaging are governed by special provisions. Y. Guidelines on clinical trials for import and manufacture of new drugs. Schedule M. Good manufacturing practices and requirements of premises, plant and equipment for pharmaceutical products. Part 1. Good manufacturing practices for premises and materials. Part 1a. Specific requirements for manufacture of sterile products, parenteral preparations and sterile ophthalmic preparations. Part 1b. Specific requirements for manufacture of oral solid dosage forms, tablets and capsules. Part 1c. Specific requirements for manufacture of oral liquids, syrups, Elixirs, emulsions and suspensions. Part 1D Specific requirements for manufacture of topical products. Part 2 Requirements of plant and equipment. Reading recommendations. ICHQ 9, Quality Risk Management. QRM is integral to an effective pharmaceutical quality system. It can provide a proactive approach to identifying, scientifically evaluating, and controlling potential risks to quality. It facilitates continual improvement of process performance and product quality throughout the product life cycle. Reading recommendations. ICHQ 10, Pharmaceutical Quality Systems. Addresses the product life cycle approach. Summary and conclusion. GMP is mandatory in countries with a regulated pharmaceutical market. GMPs are very similar, they are nothing but good common sense. Good practices cover all aspects of companies' activities prior to sales. GMP is not a reward, nor an external assignment, it should be built into the company. Just like quality, which should be built into the product. The role and involvement of senior management is crucial. GMP means an urge for continuous improvement. 3 of the tools to do so are: annual product quality reviews, complaint handling and trending, self-inspection. Keep on. Happy learning. Thank you. AIM Knowledge Mantra. Thanks for watching, liking and subscribing my channel.